Hello, Lucah here, and I'm going to talk to you about 7 brand strategies that will make you more money no matter the industry or business that you're in. Now, the one thing I will say about this is that if you get customers online, you're probably going to get the most out of this video, but to be honest, if you don't get customers online right now, what are you doing? I mean, that's really, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Honestly, online customers is the best thing that you could do if you want to make more money. Let's just be real. So I'm going to jump into it, and hopefully you get value from all of them. But even if you only implement 1 or 2, I guarantee you will make more money on these points. So the first one is increase your brand value, whether you're a personal brand, whether you're a clothing brand, product brand, service business. There is brand involved. Brand is just, and I'm going to write it over here, it's just a feeling. That's what brand is. It's not the logo, it's not the name, it's not the color palettes, it's the feeling that's created with all of that stuff put together. So if you are a personal brand posting stuff, there's a feeling associated with that. There's no, I don't have a brand. I think it's funny when people are like, oh, I don't have a brand. It's like, no, there's a brand everywhere, because there's nothing that exists without some sort of associated feeling. Now, you don't need it to be like Nike and have it be like super, everyone knows it and everyone is clear on what they're trying to convey. But no matter what, if you're doing business with anybody, there's going to be a feeling associated with the name, colors, fonts, the approach to business, customer experience, all that stuff. So essentially that is what brand is. Now, when we talk about increasing brand value, what we're talking about is there's 2 kinds of value. There's hedonic value and there's utility value. So most people focus on utility value alone. Utility value is like, this does this thing. A car gets you from point A to point B. These are the materials that it's made out of. This is how fast it goes. It's everything that you can gain utility from. The problem is that you can't just compete on utility. There's just no way to always have the better X thing. Like my main company, we produce videos and things like that and do advertising campaigns. It's like, I can't say, well, we use better gear or we do this faster. I can say that, and utility is important, but it's not the main reason that someone's going to buy anything from you. The main reason that people buy stuff, especially stuff that's not just price on utility, is hedonic value. And hedonic value is emotional value. There's a reason why a light bulb is like $2 and a Picasso painting, literally, I found one online that it said it sold for $70 million. The hedonic value of that painting is like, okay, beauty. There's emotion there. It's historic. It is rare. It makes people feel smart. It makes them feel like they're part of some beautiful thing in history. It's hard to put a price on that, which is why the price goes up and up and up. Similarly, with the light bulb example, there's not a lot of hedonic value in a light bulb, which is why things that are only utility-based have a commodity price point at how much you can put them at, whereas other things like clothes don't, because we don't really need clothes. We want them for lots of different reasons. And when you look at the biggest brands in the world of clothing and why some of them are so expensive, it's because they're not selling the utility. Pants are pants are pants. Pants are pants are pants. What they're selling is a brand association. What they're selling is a ticket to a feeling. Again, with that Nike example, they are really great at hedonic value, because when you buy their stuff, all it really means and you're thinking about is how this is going to make you feel better, look better, be better, perform better. They've spent millions of dollars on that concept, and it shows in how much people buy from them. And they're not the only ones doing that now. I mean, there's so many opportunities for anyone, as I said, to increase the hedonic value of what you're doing. More deeply understand the emotional reasons that people will buy so that you can put more of them into your creative, into your videos, into your photos, into your website copy, into your customer experience. If you do that, there's no limit to how high you can price things, as long as the hedonic value and, of course, the product quality stay somewhat in relationship to each other. Then you can push it as high as you can go until people stop buying it, basically. And then you'll know you've kind of hit the cap. The second thing is list building. I'm going to write that down, list building. The reason list building is so important, and I recommend it to like anybody I work with, is because it's something, A, you own. It's different than your Instagram following, which is kind of a list. I would say that list building is email, it's social following, it's, in some ways your web traffic. Any way that you can build how people engage with you and data points on them, one of them being email. The reason I say email is something that you own is because you can take it anywhere to any server, as opposed to an Instagram following, which if Instagram were to go down, it's hard to take all of that with you. They're helpful assets to have because you can use them in paid advertising and things like that. But really, when it comes to list building, you want to be thinking emails, because emails is a way that you can interact with people. It's a way to keep that brand and share that both hedonic and utility value with them on a regular basis. Obviously, anyone can unsubscribe at any time, but for the people that stay on the list, the more people you add to that list, you are always increasing your ability to have leads, have potential customers, have repeat buyers, which I will get into in a minute. So the third thing is shifting your pricing strategy. And this is what I mean by that. So when you think about your prices, you want to take a few things into account. You want to take in the cost. And this is again with the product. Let's say you've got a product business. You want to take in the cost, how much it costs you, but you also want to take in that value that you're giving. Is there a way that you could increase the value? Because really, price is just cost plus value. Learned that from Chris Do, which I thought was really great. So if you increase value, you will increase price. You don't have to increase cost. If you increase cost and you keep value the same, you can also increase price. And now that you know hedonic value is like way more valuable than utility value. So just make sure that you're increasing that, and you have your cost, which is how much it costs you to do a service, whether it's your time and an hourly, or teams that you pay for, or your shipping and packaging costs. That is all going to affect your price. So when it comes to making more money with this brand strategy, you want to think, okay, can we do anything to our prices? Could we A, raise them? That'd be the main one. Or B, could we pair them? So one example of this is in the agency, we'll do like a good, better, best model when we're presenting, a service to somebody. We'll be like, okay, for X amount, you get this. For Y amount, you get this. For Z amount, you get this. And you present them all at the same time. The middle price is the thing that you'll most want to do likely, and that they'll most want to get. And then Z is usually the thing that's the most expensive that you're like, they probably won't go for it. And X is usually so cheap that you're like, they probably won't go for it. So it's somewhere in the middle. Now, you can also implement memberships, subscription models. Obviously, those are really big in the software space. It used to be, remember, you'd like buy a software once on like a disk and load it onto your computer, and now you're like paying every month for it. I mean, that is a strategic pricing brand decision that makes them 10 times more than they ever made by just selling you that software one time. You can also do something like move up market or down market. Now, I wouldn't suggest going down market indefinitely. Down market being, having to decrease price in order to hit another market. It is one strategy. For instance, like Walmart's used that strategy for a really long time. Amazon uses that strategy too. It really depends on the kind of business that you have. But be wary, because the race to the bottom, unless you can afford to sustain it in another way, is a race to the bottom, basically. So either stay where you are or move slightly upmarket. You don't want to be the cheapest thing. You also may not want to be the most expensive thing, but somewhere in the middle. And maybe that means that you don't get some of the market, but that's okay. Not everyone's going to want to buy your stuff or do business with you, but to a certain person, if you present the right value to them and you talk about it in the right way and it looks the right thing, then they will buy it. I mean, and we see this in fashion all the time, right? Like if you go to a site like, a Rolex or something like that, they're watches. That's the utility of it. They tell you the time. But other than that, it's all hedonic value. It's all about feeling good. It's all about feeling classy. It's some of the top market in watches. So if you're going to go into the watch space, you may not want to go as high as them because it's hard to compete on the value that they can give. Not just from a product production perspective, but also from a customer experience and clout perspective. If you say you have a Rolex, that obviously puts you in a certain racket of membership inside of their brand. And that's where, product market fit and price, they have a relationship together. And if you price the wrong way for the wrong market, it'll immediately repel people. And I was watching Selling Sunset the other day, which is a docuseries show on a real estate agency, and they high luxury real estate. If you've seen it in Beverly Hills, they go to this showing, and one of the main guys that owns the company is amazed that they have this faucet system in the kitchen. And he's like, this is a $45,000 faucet. He's like, I know how much these frills cost, or these house accessories. And I thought about it. I was like, wow, $45,000 faucet. But here's the thing. If the hedonic value is there, if people feel good about it, if there's a certain market that's going to find that amazing, and you put, I'm sure it costs a lot to make too, but I'm sure they have an incredible margin on it. It just shows that there's a market for it. Now, if you went to the website, I'm sure all of their images and all of their copy just screams to their ideal customer, who money is no thing, and they just want the most expensive faucet that they can get, and that market clearly exists. Now, similar to this, number 4 is AOV, increasing average order value, AOV. Now, there's a few ways to do that. One of them, as I mentioned, was the good, better, best. If you're selling a service, that's an average order value increase, because instead of just presenting one price, hey, it's $1,000, you're presenting 3 prices. One's $1,000, one's $3,000, one's $6,000. The chances that you will increase that average order value go way up. Another way to do that is a packaged average order value. So when I was selling Facebook ads, I'd be like, okay, it's $1,000 a month. But then I shifted it to, hey, it's $3,000 for 3 months. I've increased the average order value, even though technically it's the same, but I've front-loaded the income, which made me a lot more money. And the other way that you can increase average order value from a product perspective is basically upsells and downsells. So upsells are when you buy something and then you present them with another offer right away. And a downsell, that's more expensive. And a downsell is you present them with an offer that's less expensive. Both work, both increase average order value. As soon as someone buys something from you, they are in a position to potentially buy something else. This works way better on a website, like in direct response. You're not necessarily selling on the phone. I haven't had the best luck in doing that. If I've just closed a deal on the phone and I offer them something else, I guess I could try, but usually this works best in a website and in a product situation. And you could have that funnel, you could have that funnel just basically keep going and going. At least 3 steps. They could buy something and then, hey, you want this? They either say yes or no. Hey, you want this? They either say yes or no. This is how average order value builds. This is how brands like Nike make a lot of money. They just do it in a way that's very unique and authentic to them. This also increases items per checkout, which is a big metric that the large brands use to calculate their profitability and make sure that they're maximizing this, which is why sometimes you go to a site and at the bottom, Amazon does this too. Hey, buy these things together. This is not just average order value, but they know that items per checkout increases average order value. They don't need to hit you with an upsell or downsell at checkout. They can just do it right in the page. And again, it's because a first-time customer is the most expensive. Someone coming to the site at all to buy one thing, you're going to have the lowest margin on that. So you want to make sure, and again, it's not being mean or anything, it's just sort of like you want to help. If you can do it in a helpful way where it's like that their life is going to be better, or like they're going to get more value from you if they do get more than one thing, then it's smart. Like for instance, no one is upset. Like if I go buy paint from the store and I'm buying paint and then they're like, oh, hey, do you want to get rollers too? I'm not mad that they asked me. Maybe I truly need rollers, right? So think about what you're doing and what you're selling. And if there's a way that you can authentically increase average order value, authentically present more products or more offers to somebody, I'd say do it, because in the best case scenario, they're actually going to thank you and they're actually going to feel better and say, wow, this place really cares about me. And like, they didn't need to show me any of that stuff, or they didn't need to tell me about it. Like that increased my experience, not decreased it. So let me go into number 5. And this is a really important one when it comes to a brand strategy that'll make you more money. And that is repeat buyers. So repeat buyers, they are the most money-making thing for basically any business, because A, cost per acquisition, you're only paying for them once, and B, it combines items per checkout and average order value. And that's why you have the list, because the list allows you to, on a regular basis, increase things like items per checkout or average order value, or any of those things. Even if you don't sell products, it's important to find a way to do business with people more than one time, whether that's through different offers, whether that's through people, like let's say you fix bathrooms. You don't just want to fix that one bathroom for somebody. You want them to call you the next time they need their bathroom fixed. Real estate agents, it's a relationship thing. You don't want to just sell them one home. You want to sell them their next home, and you want to help them buy a home and sell their home, and maybe even help their kids buy a home and sell their home, right? So optimizing for repeat buyers in any way that you can is a surefire way to make more money. And it's one of the number one brand strategies used in businesses basically across every single industry. Now, the industry that you're in maybe has a specific way that it looks at it, but don't get caught up on always getting a first-time customer. Think about what is that journey and how can we make sure to maximize the potential for a repeat purchase. Maybe that's adding a cheaper product before that. Maybe it's, adding an expensive product after that. Whatever the case may be, message me if you want to talk about how it applies to your certain industry, but definitely repeat buyers. The 6th thing you want to do is increase organic publishing. Here's what I mean by that. You want to, no matter, again, what you're doing or what your business does, you need organic marketing. That's either on social media, blogs. You want to shoot photos. You need to do video shoots. And by organic, I just mean you haven't paid for distribution. If you shoot a commercial and you put it on TV, it's paid. If you run an Instagram ad, it's paid. Sometimes people are like, why does my paid stop working? It's because they're not doing enough organic. They feed into each other. They're like in a symbiotic relationship. So if you have paid, you'll spend less. It'll cost you less to run paid if you always have organic coming in. If you're always posting organic, if your organic always leads to an Instagram page, or it always is leading to your website, and then you're collecting all of that information and using it in your paid, the cost of your paid will go down. And it's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is focusing only on paid and not enough on organic. And that could be warm outreach. Like if you're not a product business, but you rely on selling over the phone, like hit people up, get setters, do cold email outreach, do warm reach outs to people who know you. Like even the biggest brands in the world still use this concept. They still pull the lever of their organic network because it's cheap. It's really, really, you can get so much reach and exposures in the social, like especially when it comes to social media and stuff. And it just increases goodwill. It's the law of reciprocity. It gets people, it increases your hedonic value. Back to the first thing I said, because people feel seen, cared about, they understand what you're doing, you're constantly giving to people. And in that law of reciprocity of giving, people will want to give back to you. It's just how it works. And last but certainly not least, number 7, and I wrote it there for the first time, even though I didn't write any of the other ones, is storytelling. Storytelling is going to make you a ton more money. Some people even call it story selling, but it's fine, storytelling. So like if you're a personal brand, tell more stories. Just case in point, tell more stories in your writing, in your organic, in your copy of your paid ads, in your email lists. They could be stories about you, stories about the product, stories about customers, stories about things that you've read. The brain just likes story, and it's a huge value add. People just automatically are like, I liked that. I mean, unless it's a really bad story, but just generally people are more interested in stories than just a list of stuff that no one cares about, or like, this is how great we are. That's not really a story. You want to tie it into something because stories have arcs, stories have stakes, stories have something. Stories have point A to point B transformation. If you're a product brand, this is actually also insanely important, because what are brands if not stories? That's what they are. I mean, you look at Nike, it's the story of victory. It's the story of greatness. It's the story of not wanting to wake up in the morning and saying, I'm going to go to the gym, like all those videos that they make. That's the story. And the products are not the brand. The products are an extension of that story. They're an extension of that transformation, you know? And so anytime you have a business at all, you want to understand, what story am I telling, and how are we going to make sure that what we do from a product perspective, from a service perspective, from a customer perspective, we're always trying to make better. We're always trying to make that story clearer. And when it comes to understanding the story that you need to tell, stories have a few key things. They've got heroes, which is usually the lead of the story. And the lead of the story is going through stuff, going through emotions, going through desires, right? And they come across a guide, and that guide helps them achieve. Now, most companies or products and entrepreneurs, like, they think that they're the hero. It's the story of themselves. And in some ways, if you're a personal brand, you can fit the story into yourself for sure, because it helps people see that it's possible. But really, all businesses are guides. They aren't the hero going through the journey. They're the guide that the hero meets on the way and helps them get there. Back to my Nike example, I'm using it because like everyone knows about it, but I could talk mainly about any brand in this way. They're not the ones who are achieving greatness. We're the ones achieving greatness, and they're the ones helping us get there. And that is good brand storytelling. It's when you understand that what this person wants. And it starts with, what do they want? Why do they want it? And what's standing in the way? And there's usually in the way. And there's usually a few things standing in the way. There's internal things, there's external things, and there's philosophical things. Now, the internal things are what their reasons that they think they can't do it. The external things are reasons that they think outside they can't do it, or they don't have it in them or whatever. And then the philosophical things are more like, world big picture sort of reasons. So again, with this Nike example, the internal issue that we're up against as their customer is that, like, I'm not good enough, let's say. We all struggle with that. And then the external thing that we might be up against is, I don't have the clothes. Like, I don't have track pants to go running with my friends and look cool, let's say. And then those things together create why we buy from them. And then the philosophical issues are like, if they were playing in a philosophical, like, I'm sure deep down they understand this, that the philosophical game is, it's everyone should feel amazing about who they are. Everyone should love themselves. And I think a lot of brands are that philosophy at their core, and it's why it works so well when it comes to buying stuff that we feel really good that we bought. And I guarantee if you integrate more storytelling into your selling, into your written, into your pictures, there's this great picture by Band-Aid of a kid. It's like the kid's face, and she's hugging her mom. You can't see the mom's face. You can just see the kid's face, and she's hugging her mom and smiling. She's got this Band-Aid on her arm. It's a beautiful story. It's just a picture. The kid fell. They got a Band-Aid. They love their mom for taking care of them. And by default, the fact that Band-Aid puts out that picture tells the whole thing. It's the whole story. It's not just a picture of a Band-Aid that says, like, buy our Band-Aids, right? So that's why they're, like, probably the biggest bandage company in the world. That's why any company at any level that uses storytelling in their selling crushes it, and why you can too, and why any of these 7 things will make you more money in your business. Hopefully you liked this and it was helpful. And if you want to talk about any of these things or how to apply any of them into what you're doing, feel free to message me, DM me on Instagram, send me an email, leave me a funny comment on a post or something, and have an amazing day.